Good morning. It's a Fuck Your Feelings Friday, and I'm here by myself. That helmet right there was posted in Instagram by the NFL alumni. Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to say by it, but it looks like it was signed by different players throughout it and little sayings they put on there like Defend the Den, Passion, Super Buddha. I believe Super Buddha is none other than Panay Sewell, but that don't get me wrong on that. We got Brent in the chat saying, hey, 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 what do y'all say? Good morning, JB and Von Doom and Fred and anyone else who's out there. Good morning, Brent from Fruity Fred Peterson. Brent says, I knew I could count on you, brother. Before we even get to the thing, big news about the draft. Either way, I will be there because guess what? We got our press credentials yesterday. All four of us from the South Florida Tribune and the Motor City Tribune will be representing the press at the draft as well. George Eichhorn and myself are the writers for the Motor City Tribune, and Scott Morganroth and his wife are the editor and publisher in chief of the South Florida Tribune that owns the Motor City Tribune. So we will have a booth on Media Row. Hallelujah. So I don't even know if I'm going to accept the job offer because on Media Row, you're guaranteed that the prospects will come talk to you. And we represent at least 3 media releases in the NFL, so I think that's a huge draw. I don't know what he's going to do. He's proven that positional value doesn't mean shit to him. And who knows, maybe we've been burned by so many first round corners, he won't do that because the fan base might go, oh my God, we're going to suck again. Anyways, I see a few of you are here. We're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. Here's your intro.
Shows here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Meat Fat Bodies by Jeremy Smoke.
Oh, y'all caught me mid swig. Gotta have my morning dew after my morning coffee. How's everybody doing? Today's a fan fucking tastic day. As you know, I've been talking about the scouts that are coming out of the combine and out of college into the draft, and one of them I said might be a Brad Holmes type of guy, despite the college we hate of Ohio State, was Michael Hall because he has the most violent hand pop of any of the D tackles this draft. He's a tweener, which is the type of guy that Brad Holmes drafts. You know, those 290 to 310 guys, somewhere in the 6'2 to 6'4 range. Michael Hall Jr. comes in for his top 30 visit today. Also in Lions news, I do want to say that Dustin Eberle of the Berlin Thunder, the European Football League, their kicker has been signed to the Lions on the practice squad. So we've found another kicker. Does that mean Jack Bates basically acted like he's not interested in being a Lion? Who knows? Maybe he wants to stay in the UFL and have a long career and set records there. We don't know what's going on with it. All I know is we just signed another kicker, Dustin Eberle. That just broke this morning. Hey, Brent, thank you very much. We got Henry Gray saying, "Good morning, JB Von Doom and Lions family." Brent says mid swig. I love it, JB. Good morning, sir. But yes, the South Florida Tribune will be at the draft. I will be in the press booth. So you don't have to repeat yourself, Will. I caught you. We got 4 likes this morning. Thank you for everybody. We got Michaela Rodriguez, Rob Breyer, Dave Eastman, and Ricky Sakat. Ricky Sakat with the hello, JB. Yes, Von Doom is unloading pallets at the stores as we speak, setting up the sales displays for Pepsi there in Pennsylvania. So he won't be in. He might jump in the chat here and there, but it isn't Fuck Your Feelings Friday. Woohoo! But yes, the press passes came through yesterday prior to the both of the shows at the South Florida Tribune I was a part of. Thank you, Joseph Austin. It's been a long time coming. I've been writing about the Lions now and published for 2 full seasons. I missed out on over half of the 2021 season. I was published on Facebook, but not on an online publication. But because of my comments about Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn on Scott Morganroth's show, Inside the Pigskin with Mel Farr Jr., they were talking about Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. And I said, "Oh, you mean the coaching staff and front office that couldn't develop Polaroid film, let alone a player?" And I'm talking about the old 70s Polaroid film that you had to dip in lacquer just to keep it. Good morning, Dwayne Keene. I appreciate everyone. Um, I'm working on my why Josh Reynolds is not a Lion, and I said it would happen. Let's go, Detroit Lions. One pride, Kings of the North Division Championship title. Let's go. Boots up, gentlemen. As Michael Banks would say, super fan inducted into 2022 Hall of Fame. I like it, Will. You're finally embracing it, my butt chin Padawan. That's all I ask of anybody. Have fun with whatever you do. If somebody's picking on you, embrace it. Because when those nicknames come along, that's what they are. But Michael Hall Jr. coming in tells me that he's one of those guys that could be picked by the Lions in the second round. And it's good to do the diversity of the different guys that fits your scheme and what you want and the type of gritty players you want. And Michael Hall actually has said something at the combine about the Lions. So who knows? He might be a fit. I think he's a better fit than Chris Jackson for what we have on the roster. Chris Jackson is closer to a D tackle in the mold of a Lee McNeil and Broderick Martin. And I think Martin is being developed for the future of this team to take over when Reeder can't go. And Reeder also said he wants to work with Martin himself. And he also wants to work with Hutch to make him a better guy. He'll be his cheerleader when he's doing good and be the biggest one to put a boot in his ass when he's not. So I think that's a huge thing. A vet that wants to be a leader is what this defense is needed. They made Charles Harris a defensive captain, but yet he was a healthy scratch through about 7 games in the season, which tells me he wasn't the guy he was supposed to be. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean. And there's a podcaster saying out there that Mike Sanderstall will be awful. And I know he's an idiot. I'm not going to say any names. Brockers was never a leader. I'm talking about Charles Harris last year. Brockers was off the roster. Brockers was a bump on the log that we never should have had on the roster. And I said that when we traded for him. I said it was a waste of a 6th round pick. I mean, we got him for next to nothing. We kept him around for a year for next to nothing, and we cut him for nothing. Good riddance. Benito Jones. Isaiah Buggs is the one that bothered me last year because there was a disconnect between him and AG, and it had to do with the way he was coaching the defense. He actually called it out publicly, and AG had an issue with it. So that is why Buggs, despite having more impactful plays in his few games than Benito Jones had. Yeah, Brockers did do nothing. It was a waste of a 6th round pick. Oh, can't understand why people don't understand that. This is my time. This is my time to be with y'all. It's your time. I'm here for y'all. So, what do you want to talk about today? Be honest. Now, remember, this press pass was approved by the NFL. So, I got to get them a good headshot to send in. All you can eat buffet for the press at the draft. Yes, sir. Jonathan Height, we got our press passes. We're in. So, yes, I will be at the draft. Um, I will be on the media row. And who knows what other access that gets me. And I like the fact that I'm in the part with the press pass. I will be hobnobbing with people. When you get the NFL press pass, that means you're going to be there with the upper echelon, not just with the team guys, which is bigger. Go easy on the sweets. The only sweets I really take in is Mountain Dew, and I will make sure I have plenty of with me. My teeth are bad enough. I don't need any more sweets. I'm floored that we got it. I think the press gets dancing girls too, only if they go to the strip club wearing our little badges. You see Nealon, make sure you tell him Godwin still sucks and Kville still runs Division One. I love it. Talk that shit. I got you. I'll back you up on it. Yes, sir. I I am beside myself that I got to announce this today that we got our press passes. Orlando Escobar Jr. was on last night when we went till 11 p.m. with two different podcasts on the South Florida Tribune channel, and I appreciate him supporting us because I also air that on my channel. Because if I'm on there and they're using StreamYard, I'm going to send it to my YouTube. because you guys need to know what we're talking about too. We were talking about a little bit of world news more than just sports with the pundits. I mean, it started off with sports news because the OJ thing about him passing and the jokes and the hits were coming. And I sat there, I said, you know what? Despite whatever we feel, whether he did it or not, he was acquitted in the court system. So technically, we can't call him guilty, even though we think he might be. But we have to remember he was a father and a grandfather and uncle to so many family guys, family people. And we have to respect them. There's a time and a moniker for the jokes. And then somebody asked me about what do I think happened? And I kind of agreed with the Von Doom thing, and I made the joke because that joke is different because we're talking about people that's been dead since God, I what was that, 94, 95? So I made the joke. I did it. I said, I personally think he was trying to castrate Ron, and it was just unfortunate that her throat got in the way because that was a funny joke. I'm sorry. I find funny in that. But this press pass is the first of bigger things to come. Other NFL events I may get invited to, not just Lion stuff. Who knows? Maybe I'll be a if the box don't fit, the juice is still alive. Considering what he was in 14 game season, what a rental Simpson did, OJ. He was the first player in 14 games to run for 2,000 yards, 2,003 yards to be exact. He at one time was a part of a Monday Night Football team. One Punky Lions fan. I'm in the camp that I think his son did it. And if you look at a lot of stuff with his son, it adds up. From his son having a knife that measured the same to a dog that matched the hairs from the hat. I I know Funky Lions fan. I tried to make people aware of that too. I was just making the joke about Ron and OJ and his wife. It sounded funny, but yeah, I agree. I think he tried to cover it up, and that's why the gloves did not fit. They didn't try the gloves on the son, or maybe it was Cato himself who has tiny hands, who became a icon for a minute, got paid by E to do his little bit as a host. Oh goodness! Speaking of which, my fellow reporter uh, sent me a YouTube video. My dad went to a game between University of Minnesota, and my dad lived in Minnesota versus USC with O.J. Simpson. That was a long friggin' time ago, but great to hear that. My dad went. Yeah, that's it's amazing. Uh, my first game was seeing O.J. I mean, Billy Sims karate kicking Stevie Brown of the Houston Oilers. I believe that was the cornerback's name to get that first down. Size 12, Bruno Malley shoe prints. Come on. That doesn't mean that OJ didn't go there and try to put some stuff on him. Joseph Austin. He was acquitted. The the blood soaked gloves didn't even fit his hands. Used to walk home to school with Reggie McKenzie. That's cool. I used to be a outside security guy for celebrations right here in Flint, Michigan on Beecher Road. Um, I met people to the likes of Mateen Cleaves, Andre Rison, Robert Smith, and quite a few others, Courtney Hawkins, all those guys that used to come there and party. Some jobs get you access to things you normally don't get as an average person, and security's one of them. Uh, Press, of course, is one of them, and this is just the first of many good things to come from being a part of the press. I'm honored by it all, and the fact that I'm doing it with just a high school diploma. So if you want to read my writings, it's the southfloridatribune.com. There's a three hash mark or a three line setting on the header. It's like a red bar. If you scroll down to Motor City Tribune, you'll find my writings there. That's the menu drop. Fred Peterson says, "Did you ever watch the miniseries of The People versus OJ with Cuba Gooding Jr.? That was a good remake of the No, I haven't watched any of it because you know what? Ricky, I want to thank you. Um, it's been a long time coming to get to this. Um, People don't realize the hard work, the determination that people put through to get to where they are. And then the next stepping stone for me is going to the National Sports Media Association meeting in at the end of June, early July. And then after that, it's whatever else that we can get the press passes for. Who knows if it's a big NFL game, as in a primetime game, we might get NFL press passes to go versus Detroit Lions press passes. It puts us on a different level when you get it from the headquarters of the NFL than from any one team. That's what I'm hearing. So this puts me on the map finally. You know, I'm on the map with the local guys. When I met a guy I worked at a grocery store out of work, Joe Delamillo, or I think that's how you say it. When I asked what his ring was, he said it was a Hall of Fame ring. One Bunky Lions fan. I used to work at the beer cooler, changing the taps at Joe Louis Arena. I was right next to the Zamboni entrance. I have met and had long conversations with people, including Shanahan and Fedorov. Fred Peterson says, "That's awesome, JB." Joe Delamure guard for Orline, not guarded for OJ. Oh, cool. I mean, yeah, we see people from all walks of life. Um, it is. This is one of the things I wanted to achieve. This is something that I work for. From the Bill Vogels? That I think that's who he's talking about, Joseph. And I was right. Yeah, because I'm trying to remember I'm trying to say it the way it's pronounced, but it's been so long since I heard it. Good morning, Miss Tina. It is so good to hear from you. Now you get the good news. We got our press passes. I'm in. Everybody says, "Oh, but words can't describe how happy I'm happy for you, JB." Oh, you have a bunch of his cards. That's cool, Joseph. And Mick Foley, when he did his show from the cooler I took care of. Oh, and Steve Austin drank Diet Pepsi off screen. Oh, yeah, I know. Awesome. And Fred Peterson comes in with the of the day. I think OJ could run in the gap of Vogel's chin. Oh, bam. The rim shot guy could have a. I don't know much about this Dustin Everly. If anybody wants to look up and see what he's done with the Berlin Thunder as a kicker, the Lions just signed him to a futures contract. I want to see what type of stats he's got because if he's Badgley or Patterson esque, expect more fourth down go for it. Good evening, Christina, or good morning, Christina Payne. Thank you for joining. With that being said, There really isn't much else for Lions news out there, but we actually had Lions news this morning. Number one, Michael Hall, defensive tackle of Ohio State. Let me look up his size for us, so that way I believe he's one of those tweener guys, if I remember right. When I looked him up last, 6'3" and 299. Davies, and well, according to the latest measurements from his pro day, it was 6'3", 299, but 6'2", 280 is probably right. But one thing I read in his scouting report is he has the most violent hand pops of any DT prospect this draft. And Dave Eastman, I will. Have fun, JB. Good job. Well, I thank my publisher for doing it. And a 957 RAS score, which is good enough, I believe, for fourth as defensive tackle, unless you take Darius Robinson. And I'm going to say this right now. And you converted his stats from DN to D tackle on the RAS website, it actually takes him to a 989. Just putting that out there. As a D tackle, he's a 989. As a D end, he's in the eights. But hand pop is a huge thing. Hand pop is a very, very big thing with defensive tackles because as they get their leverage and they get low, if they've got good hand pop, they're able to pop bigger guards and centers back, which allows them to speed rush underneath or spin around them or do, or just bull rush them over and bowl them over, which he did a lot of that. And if Zinder wouldn't have broke his legs, he probably wouldn't have got in the backfield on JJ. Just saying. Hand pop is huge. The first to get their hands on typically will win the battle. I was watching Renardo Green tape and discovered Bub Means, a wide receiver from Pitt. I believe he's not in this draft. I believe he comes out next year, Joseph Austin, which I do kind of like him. I also want to see what Pitt does with their new freshman quarterback, who was a four-star guy coming out of high school. Love your shirt and hat, Jeremy. I appreciate it, Tina. You know, Hall grew up in Ohio. Um, as a junior, he made 72 tackles and 17 tackles for loss and 5 sacks. So if you moved him with that hand pop to outside, those bigger, taller tackles. Oh, he is in the draft, so he's probably an undrafted free agent because I haven't heard of him. I'll have to look and see where he's at on the prospect list and get a scouting report for you, Joseph Austin. That's no problem. I can talk about him next week if you want, or maybe later tonight. Hand pop is the first step and biggest thing for any lineman. Yes, especially on the defensive side. Fred Peterson, the hand pop is very, very key to a lot of people. Good morning, Paul Jones. In case you missed it, we got our press passes. We're in. All four members of the South Florida Tribune. Motor City Tribune is owned by the South Florida Tribune. So George Eichhorn and myself that write for the Motor City Tribune. Eichhorn does more of the Detroit Tigers, the Red Wings, and the Pistons stuff, where I focus mostly on the NFL and the Detroit Lions. And Scott Morganroth, the owner and publisher, and Candy Ebling, the editor in chief. That's who will be there. We drilled hand pop first step religiously when I played ball. People don't realize that hand pop is a fundamental thing. Who do I think is the biggest later round sleeper? Quantez Stiggers, after I saw what he did because they did like a CFL combine thing, he ran exactly what I said he'd run. He's 5'11 and 205, which means he's on the bigger side for just under 6 foot. He's got good size for his frame. He ran a 4.42. He ended up with a 9.35 RAS, which is among the highest of some of the late rounds guys, Quantez Stiggers. Another guy, Frank Gore Jr., who's faster than his dad, almost as strong, uh, runs real hard, especially between the tackles, but has enough speed to turn the corner on the outside. Is that who's in that profile picture, Tina? Is your niece? Did you? I want to give a shout out to Tina Passarelli's niece, Maya. She's turning 6 tomorrow. Put a happy birthday in the chat for everybody. Yep, 93 tackles in a professional setting. Hand pop is why arm length is such a big deal. Yes, it is. Especially that's why the offensive linemen need to have long arms. Everybody talks about short arms as usually guards and centers. There's a reason why. If you don't have long arms, you can't do it. Happy B Day from Devin Bynum. Happy birthday from Brent. Happy birthday from Fred Peterson. When it's for a kid, if you don't put happy birthday in the chat, that's rude. I'm sorry. If it's a kid, I want it shouted out. Um, it's important. Kids need to feel loved by everybody. Um, and I mean that in the emotional, mental sense. There isn't enough of that true emotional support in this world anymore. That's why I say what I do at the end of my shows. I don't want to get political. I don't want to say it's a left or right thing. I don't want to say any of that. One of the other things we covered last night, and I do want to touch on that because it's Michigan news, and it has to do with people that would have been able to graduate from high school and do college and do all sorts of things. The Crumblies, they got 10 to 15 years. Somebody said they thought the punishment was too steep. I thought it was just right. Number one, the dad bought the ammunition and the gun for the son. Number two, the mom texted when she knew it was happening and who it was that did it. Don't come back and don't get caught. That was her advice to her son that was killing and injuring people. And it's disgusting. And it's about time parents are held accountable for their minor children's actions. Oh, that picture is Janet Jackson, your favorite singer. Okay. I can't see because it's a very tiny picture. I can't make out if it's an adult, a child, or whatever. And the school should have handled it better too, because back when I went to school, if you took a loaded gun and ammunition to a school and got caught and sent home, you weren't just sent home, you were expelled. You never got to come back. This kid, 2 days beforehand, brought the gun into school, got caught, and was sent home in a 1 day suspension. He comes back and he just unloads on everybody. So the school is at fault too, which is why the victims are looking at suing the school. Yeah, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty, just ask Justin Timberlake. He saw a booby, just like the rest of us who watched that Super Bowl. Agape love. I am a big proponent. Myself, I'm a Christian. I may cuss like a sailor, but that doesn't mean I don't ask for my forgiveness. You can't write a letter to God asking for forgiveness before you do it. It doesn't work that way. Favorite time of year is pre-draft interviews. I'm a nerd. And that's why I'm happy to be on the media row, because guess what? When you're in the national side at the NFL side, you're gonna get more of those people coming to you. I might get a chance to talk to people that are at the draft, like any one of the 6 quarterbacks that'll be there, any one of the 13 wide receivers, any one of the 22 offensive linemen, any one of the 30 defensive linemen, any one of the 40 cornerbacks that's invited to this draft. I might be able to talk to them. I'm not saying I will, but we might be live talking to somebody. I have an extra camera that I'm bringing to face the opposite direction just in case. I'm gonna pick up another microphone. I don't know if he's invited, but if he is, I definitely will interview Stiggers. You know, there are some of those late round guys that show up just to see if their name is called in day 3. They won't show up day 1 and day 2. We've seen it, and especially those that are slated for that last half of the draft. In other words, the picks that go from 240 up to 320. Yeah, only 13 commits so far for the draft, but I know who's invited. Fred Peterson. It's crazy the world we live in. I brought mine to school, but left it locked up in my car. Was going hunting after school. I did get in trouble because someone saw the case. I was told to leave it at home. They live in the UP, and that happened 2 years ago. Yep. Have you checked out Renardo Green, cornerback from F? I have done some checking into him. I see him as a decent late day 2 pick. I don't see him earlier than that. He has some flaws to his game that he needs to work on. His change of direction, when a wide receiver puts a double move on him, he tends to get burnt. Um, he's very stiff through the hips. He has a very fluid around the corner move, but he lacks some of the quickness coming out of his back pedal. So he's got decent ups. He's got good speed, which means he can keep up with guys. But the double moves get him easily. Devin Bynum. That's what I see. He's basically a lesser version of Cooper DeJean. And anybody that says Cooper DeJean is not an elite athlete didn't pay attention to his coverage snaps. I love the draft. Us Lions cats are good at it. We've had a lot of experience. We're good at it lately. I won't say we've been good at it because, yep, the other QB from Bama is climbing quick. He's actually rose up to be the number 1 cornerback draft prospect. Number 2 is Quinyon Mitchell. Number 3 is Nate Wiggins. Number 4 is Kool-Aid McKinstry. Number 5 is Cooper DeJean. That's the top 5 right now. That's in the order that I read it, straight off of PFF, and it matches exactly what they have with the NFL Network. So Kool-Aid or McKinstry, Kool-Aid McKinstry or Cooper is a very much a chance at 29. Not because they don't deserve to go earlier, because of the medical stuff, the injuries scare you. I like Cooper and Sandwich though. Well, first round CBs is not a great history. No, there's not. There's only been a few absolute studs in the first round, and we all know about them. Charles Woodson, Deion Sanders, Sauce Gardner, Devin Witherspoon last year. A lot of your great corners come through the second, third, and fourth rounds. That's not a bullshit statement. That is where they come from. But Cooper and his coverage snaps over the last 2 seasons, 388 coverage snaps, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 4 pass breakups. Hey JB, how does that work for kids entering the draft? Do they have the option to finish school and get their degree? They always, if they were on an actual athletic scholarship, yes. If not, they have to get more loans to cover the rest of it. So yes, everybody gets to go back to school. Lake and Tomlinson, um, When he was traded to be a backup at San Francisco that year, he went back to school and finished his degree in neurological surgery. Brad Holmes might trade up between 10 and 15, give up. I don't think that came from a guy that does fake news. And if you're reading the NFL North news stuff on Facebook, it's all crap. Cooper's. I've heard we're trading back. I've heard we might move up to at most 20, but we're not trading up past 20. And Big Dan Davis says, I'm okay with waiting for a second rounder later to take a CB. Some of my favorite CB prospects are second rounder later projections, anyways. And yeah, I think they're going to get Cooper or they're going to go O line. That's where I'm at with the Packers. So they're either going to take an O lineman or they're going to take Cooper and Paul Jones. I agree with you. We're not trading up. I think we're trading back. I think they want a fourth round pick. There's a lot of great talent in that late third and early fourth. We might even be trading back to get like a compensatory third pick with one of those later guys that want to jump in front of somebody to grab someone with an early pick. Because I truthfully feel like Brad Holmes likes picking in that 90 to 130 range. I think there's a good chance we get Cooper DeJean. Him and Van Ness have been training together. That's because Van Ness is an Iowa Hawkeye. He went back to Iowa to work out. Cooper DeJean may be there at 29. And guess who else has been at Iowa training this offseason? Jack Campbell and Sam Laporta. Ultimately, Holmes is going to make the best decision possible for our situation. He has a football IQ that I can't even understand, and it makes my brain explode. Absolutely, Fred. So, Steve, while you're sitting there bragging that Vanessa's there, so's Campbell and so's Laporta. That's what guys do in their second year out. They go back to their college to work out rather than their team facilities because normally they're from the area where they go to college when the college is not a national draw for certain positions. Like, I'm not a homer. I'm not being a total homer on this. I don't know what we're doing at 29, but whatever we do, I'm okay with it because Brad Holmes has proven that 99.9% of the stuff works. I've heard from a Rams guy. I follow the Rams and Lions and had conversations about trading in the draft. What the talks we are unknown, but they have had talks and it doesn't mean anything. Long snapper. I mean, we got both of our long snappers back this year, so I doubt we take another one. We got AJ McQuaid and we got Scott Daly back. So both of them are on the team. Scott Daly was only off the team because he hurt. And Big Dan Davis says, yeah, George Kittle, former Hawkeye, current 49er tight end Gores, and trained at his alma mater every offseason. He he trained with last season before we drafted him. Yep, we get the Eagles. No, we traded away that pick, I believe. We traded it away. Yeah, Kittle trained with Laporta. I know. I mean, people put way too much stock into who trains where when it's and during the interviews last year, Van Ness and Laporta talked about Campbell as much as themselves. Jack must inspire some guys. He does. He was a team captain. He's another one of those team captains we draft. That's the one thing Brad Holmes hits the nail on the head. He wants leaders. He wants to draft leaders because eventually you don't need vet leadership anymore because the guys step into those roles automatically once they're developed. While they're developing, they can't be the leader that you expect them to be. And the only draft pick not on this roster is Chase Lucas right now. Chemistry over hype. Yep. It's the combination of talent and chemistry that they're looking for. And when you get leaders, you get dogs. When you get dogs, you get talent. When you get talent, hard work overcomes talent. We've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times. Well, guys, it's coming that time of day. It's time to do our sponsors. We're going to do Steve's favorite sponsor first. Put it in the chat, everybody. It's FTB because it's Fuck Your Feelings Friday. Fuck the Packers. It's not the Floras. It's not Free the Puppies. It's not Flush the Poop. It's not Found the Poltergeist. To be honest, it doesn't matter who drafts because within many years they are getting traded. Dave Eastman comes in with the FTP, FVT. Yes, that was just for you, Steve. Fuck the Packers. And don't forget to go check out one of my paying sponsors at 409 Saginaw Street, Gloss Negron. Best window tinner in Saginaw. Give them a call to schedule your appointment. 989-443-9240. Window tinning, auto detailing, and all your car small accessory needs. You can even wire stereos and stuff like that. So if you want it done, get her done. Flush the pebbles. FTP and FTV2. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Isn't that a quote from Hard Knocks? Forget the phone, forgot the phone. FVT, F Von Doom's team too. Yeah, because he said F the Lions last night. That's right. Fuck the Giants. Well, fuck the Packers. And to anybody that doesn't like us saying to fuck their team, guess what? I got one for them. Much better. I sent in you. Cry like bitch you should. And of course, don't forget to come on in just like Lion King did. 810-233-8230 to find out about your new tires to get a quote at Brandon Service, the lowest price tire shop in Genesee County for used tires. Mention this ad, get $10 off. 602 West Atherton Road, right at the corner of South Grand Traverse and West Atherton Road. That's fine, Joseph Austin. I know you still dislike half the things I say, but at least I'm real and convicted, and so far, the actions of the team have backed up everything I said. See all of you next year at WrestleMania. Wear your FTP shirts in the ring. Yes, sir. My wife's favorite thing to say, finish the project. I will wear my FTP shirt while drinking from an FTP tumbler. While wearing an FTP hat. And I will smash you through the FTP table. Steve may be real, yeah. But what you gonna do, brother? When the lion's python's gonna run wild on you. Birds aren't real. Jeremy, no matter what, you're one cool dude. I just try to have fun. And if people don't like my opinion, that's fine. You know, I I'll say it again. It doesn't matter whether it's mine or someone else's. Freedom of speech is here. Everybody has an opinion. And to somebody, it usually stinks, just like everybody has an asshole. Plant an FTP flag in the middle of Ford Field North, right in the logo. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's do it. Hey, kiddo, is there any chance you see me on TV draft day? Uh, who knows? I might get a chance to talk to somebody because I'm going to be wearing my South Florida Tribune hat as a member of their press. So who knows? Maybe somebody will bring me in to ask. But I will be wearing my polo that says Smokin' Jeremy B, and I will introduce myself as such if I am on camera. Hey, hey, I'm going to be proud to be there. I'll be proud to represent what I do, and I'll be proud to shout out every channel I'm a part of. Because you know what? Everybody is here to help everybody. You don't like it? I don't care. Yes, Dad, we got our press passes last night. We're in. Elbows, assholes, and opinions. Everybody has them. That is right. I do not back down from my opinion. And when it's proved wrong, I admit when I'm wrong. I'll be looking for you. Hope to see you on TV. You will see me online because the South Florida Tribune will be live the entire time of the draft. We'll be talking about our opinions on every draft pick. And there should be a random Lion players in the audience. There always is. I know someone else that's hosting their draft party at the Soaring Eagle. So if you want to hang out with Micro Mike, Easy of Woodward Sports, and a few other podcasters like Dosa Dion, go up to the Soaring Eagle and meet Herman Moore live and sit and talk to them prior to the draft because they are actually some of the coolest dudes on the planet. I've met them all up there. So there's places to go to see them. But anybody who's going to be at the draft, and if you can get to the media row access, come see me because I'll talk to you. We'll meet up. We'll do pictures. We'll do all of that because I'm not afraid. I got a face for radio, and if I haven't broken this camera, I won't break yours. I'm so excited about being there. Here, let's switch this out because it's lion colors, anyways. Boom. That's who I'm a member of the media with, guys. Hey, look, it even matches my backdrop. It's a good hat to wear. This is the one I wear when I'm on my publishers. Wayside Bar is in Mount Pleasant. Yes, it is. I've been there. So, guys, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before because that's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Much love to everybody in the chat. Steve is real. Yeah. One funky Lions fan. Lion King didn't pop in today, but he'll be back. He'll watch this later. Paul Jones, Joseph Austin, Fred Peterson, Brent, all you guys. Thank you so much. Tina Passarelli. South Florida, that is a company that is just outside of Miami. We get press clippings. We get the media press coverage quotes from the Miami Dolphins, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Detroit Lions through there because Scott Morganroth is actually from Detroit. He was a part of a show called The Sports Exchange on the radio, and it is what it is. I love my dad, and he picks on himself just as bad as I do. I don't have a face for TV. As a matter of fact, I have to cover my face before my feet will crawl in bed and be. That's so cool. Yeah, Steve, I got with the South Florida Tribune all because I made comments about Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn. They were talking about him right after we got Dan Campbell. And that's how I got in bed with these guys. I literally went on their thing and said, Matt Patricia and Boob Quinn, the Quinn Trasha era, they couldn't develop a Polaroid film, let alone a player. And that's what started this relationship. He asked me to submit a sample of my writings in my very first game review. I used to live in Tampa. I used to live just east of Tampa in a town called Brandon, and then moved to Valrico, which is a little further east, closer to Plant City. And then after I changed jobs and did a couple things, I moved to Zephyr Hills and I worked for Casbar Sports Grill. And from there, I came back home because I met somebody online that was from here, and we got married and had a great time and made a daughter. And then she decided she didn't need a husband, is what it is. I've been through some things, but you know what? I'm a better person for having gone through it. I've lived in 5 states, 41 cities. It's been a good life. Wait, more than that. I'm only counting the ones on the east side. I forgot. I've been to Iowa. I've been to Wisconsin. I've been to Minnesota, um, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas. Passed through Nebraska, but I didn't stop there. So I've been through more states than I thought. Good Lord. I was just saying the ones I lived in. I think I've been to 32 of the states so far, all in the main area. But thank you, everybody. Have a great day. And tune in tonight. We'll do the Lions Fan Cave chat. If you guys draft TJ Tampa, then you might have to visit Tampa again. That's funny. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you tonight. Your Aunt Mary Jane was a head teller for a bank in Brandon. I did not know that. That's cool. Take care, everybody. I got to get ready for work.